This may be the toughest summer in history. The extreme temperatures led to this polar bear starving to death. The remaining fat on its corpse became salvation for another hungry polar bear. It is extremely rare for polar bears to eat the corpses of their own kind. However, global warming forced them to leave the sea ice and migrate to land. This place is like a dead end. Hunting has become a luxury. Scavenging is the only hope for polar bears to survive. The Arctic spring is about to end in late June. The polar bear, which has ruled the polar regions for millions of years, is facing a cruel survival test. They need to catch 40 seals a year to meet their survival needs. However, the drastic change in climate causes the sea ice to melt faster. Hunting seals has become extremely difficult. Without enough fat reserves, it's hard for polar bears to survive the summer after the sea ice melts. Decades ago, when polar bears came ashore in late spring, they still had a month to catch enough seals. Unfortunately, with the acceleration of global warming, their familiar world of ice and snow disappears prematurely. This deals a fatal blow to many polar bears who couldn't adapt to the new environment in time. Fierce bear is just 3 years old this year. He just left his parents to survive alone, only to face a hellish start. As far as he can see, all around are fragmented sea ice. The failure to catch seals and the increasingly high temperatures forced Fierce Bear to embark on an unknown, perilous path to survival. He needs to swim alone for over 500 kilometers in the vast ocean, using a dog paddle, to the mainland across the sea to find hope for life. In the vast sea, he navigates by the sun during the day and by the stars at night. Without eating or drinking, he rushes toward the land day and night. Any deviation along the way will result in death as the cost. In the sea not far from him, a mother bear and her cub are also migrating to the distant mainland. They haven't found any food along the way and are relying purely on their own fat reserves to endure. Her cub relies on the mother's scarce milk supply for support. In contrast, Fierce Bear is relatively lucky. A group of walruses catches the white bear's attention midway. Faced with this tempting fat, Fierce Bear doesn't hesitate and immediately launches a surprise attack. In the open sea, adult walruses do not lose to polar bears in size and fighting power. But they are still likely to become food for the polar bear. Fierce Bear's pursuit causes panic among the walrus herd. They hold their young and begin to flee. After chasing them relentlessly, Fierce Bear arrives at a small island crowded with walruses. This is the walrus's lair, and it's a self-service restaurant in Fierce Bear's eyes. Walrus pups are 1/3 fat. Catching just one is enough to sustain his energy consumption for swimming for the next few days. After a period of stealthy observation, Fierce Bear targets a young walrus surrounded by many adults. Seizing the opportunity, when the walrus parents are distracted, Fierce Bear launches a surprise attack. His intense survival instinct overrides the walrus's instinct to protect their young. After a full meal, fierce bear turns around and continues his journey for survival. After weeks of long-distance travel, the exhausted fierce bear finally reaches the shore. This piece of land is full of life and abundant in food, but it seems especially strange to the polar bear. They are familiar with prey beneath the ice. They still need time to adapt to these land-based foods. A solitary polar bear who came ashore a few days earlier failed to catch enough seals before the ice melted. The long migration consumed all its fat. After coming ashore, the ravenously hungry bear had no energy left to hunt, and finally collapsed in the darkness before dawn. Among the more than 2,000 polar bears who migrated to land for survival, over a fifth of the unfortunates collapsed halfway. Fierce bear is lucky and unlucky. In the first few days ashore, he struggled to find food, barely surviving. Exhausted, he wanted to lie down and sleep. But the relentless mosquitoes tormented him. The experienced adult polar bears, however, know not only to lie in the seawater to avoid the insects, but also enter a state of walking hibernation during the summer without eating. They lower their metabolic rate to reduce energy consumption, relying on stored fat to get through this difficult summer in a half-asleep state. Fierce bear hadn't had time to learn these survival skills from his parents. As a novice, he could only wander aimlessly across this strange land. This undoubtedly accelerates his energy consumption. Just as he was ravenously hungry and about to collapse, the starved, solitary bear not far away became his salvation. Cannibalism among polar bears is very rare. They are the noble ice predators of the Arctic, rulers at the top of the food chain. But here on land, they are forced to stoop to feeding on the carrion of their own kind just to survive. A few days later, the mother bear and her cub also ended their migration and successfully came ashore. She is now extremely weak and her milk has dried up. The food problem is urgent. Fortunately, they soon discovered a dolphin that had washed up on the nearby shore. Faced with this gift from nature, the mother bear and the cub feast heartily. Fierce bear, whose sense of smell is even keener than a dog's and whose luck is through the roof, quickly discovers this feast. But he still dares not act rashly. After all, he is still essentially a 36-month-old baby. His fighting power is no match for the mother bear. He learned patience, hiding on the side, and watching stealthily. Only after this family had eaten their fill and left did he cautiously step forward to scavenge the leftovers. Time quickly moved to September. During this time, Fierce Bear quietly followed the mother bear and her family, surviving on the scraps and leftovers from the experienced mother bear. More and more polar bears gathered on this land. The place started to become very lively. To fully grown, strong males are practicing fighting, laying a solid foundation for competing for mates later. Fierce Bear, who is about to reach adulthood, chose a shortcut. He set his sights on the mother bear's not yet adult daughter early on. The mother bear always thought Fierce Bear was after their leftovers, never expecting he was eyeing her daughter while eating what was left. Even worse, he even wanted to take the daughter away. Another bear trying to court one's daughter, simply intolerable at any time. The mother bear was always secretly guarding against Fierce Bear's every move. But suddenly, she guarded day and night, but couldn't prevent the insider threat. This young female, for some unknown reason, actually took a liking to Fierce Bear. Whether humans or polar bears, early romance is not allowed by parents. The mother bear, witnessing all this, angrily chases Fierce Bear away. Fierce Bear, however, is like an adhesive plaster, constantly lingering. Until one day, the sudden appearance of a lone wolf abruptly put an end to this polar bear's premature romance drama. As is well known, wolves are social animals. One means there are likely 7 or even 18 wolves following. Fierce Bear and the mother bear's family were scattered in the ensuing chaos. His nascent romantic feelings, before they could bloom, vanished like the wine before his eyes. In the following months, the lovelorn Fierce Bear, having failed to find any trace of the mother bear's family, lived a lonely, walking dead existence. Time quickly turns to November. The long and difficult summer is finally over. The snow and ice, sensing the call of the polar bears, arrive late. In the last century, the sea surface would have already been frozen by now. Fierce Bear follows his instinct, heading toward the freezing areas amidst the falling snow. However, the 2 male bears who practiced fighting to compete for mates, practiced from summer to winter, are still single. Faced with this sight, Fierce Bear is finally relieved. Polar bears spend most of their lives living in solitude. Companionship is only temporary in a crisis. A mating partner is the ultimate answer. Finally, the seawater turns from black to a field of white. The sea ice Fierce Bear is familiar with has returned. He sets off on the road home. Next year's Arctic summer may be longer. The time for hunting seals will be shorter, and survival will become incredibly difficult. But none of this matters to Fierce Bear anymore. After all, home is where the heart is.